2021 was an absolutely wild year for Magic the Gathering, and it's looking like next year is going to be even crazier. So today, we're going to talk about my top 5 predictions about what's coming for Magic the Gathering in 2022.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered to talk about the future of Magic the Gathering. For today alone, I shall set aside my title of the Magic Historian, and I shall take up the mantle of the Magic Future Storian, and I shall take you, my friends, on a journey far, far into the future, the year 2022. So, first thing on my list here of what I expect to see with 2022 is I expect that year is going to be the year of the most crossovers in Magic the Gathering. And I mean that in a couple of different ways. First, I mean it in an IP sense, but also I mean it in a flavor sense, all right? Because for the majority of Magic the Gathering's history, it has been a swords and sorcery style fantasy game. But with the start of 2022, we're going to be entering into the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set, which is clearly a science fiction style divergence from what we're accustomed to. And we're going to see more things in this science fiction realm throughout the year as well. With Unfinity, we have the Warhammer 40k commander decks as well. And that's another reason I think we're going to see more crossovers, is because Wizards is willing to do crossovers across a range of products now. Originally, crossovers were purely the domain of Secret Lairs, right? You could only find the stuff that way. But now, crossovers have kind of made their way out into a more common concept. We're going to have a Lord of the Rings crossover, right? That's actually going to be a full-on set, although that might be slated for 2023. But bear in mind, there are a number of different products that Wizards just kind of pops out on us at any given moment. So crossing over into different franchises, but also crossing over into different realms. So we may see, who knows, there may be some side product throughout the year that comes up with the concept of, why don't we try out the Wild West? I feel like Wizards of the Coast is far more willing to try one-offs of zany things now. And that's why I feel we're going to have the year of the most crossovers, and I feel like that's actually going to carry over. I really feel like this is the beginning of the full-on crossover era, where you can expect to see Magic go into crazy genres and crossover with all kinds of crazy properties, right? Now, all of this, what I want to be very clear about is all of the points I'm going to talk about on this list are somewhat interchangeable. They may not be like ranked with the exact same order for you, right? Overall. But this is also stuff that's going to apply going forwards for Magic and is focused mostly on the fact that Wizards of the Coast is trying to ramp up their earnings as much as possible. So when I'm predicting what's going on with 2022, I'm doing it through the lens of somebody who's like, okay, Wizards is trying to accumulate as much cash as possible. So in that vein, the next point on my list specifically deals with Secret Lairs. I believe that Secret Lair is going to extend out even further to other products. So the first wave of Secret Lairs that we had for the majority of the time Secret Lair existed were particular box sets where you could get one of two things. You would either get a box of reprints, or you would get a box of functionally unique cards. These cards didn't exist anywhere else in Magic. Those were the two deals, with the majority of the stuff being reprints. There weren't too many brand new cards created. Like the Walking Dead Secret Lair was an example of new cards being created, but mostly it was just get your variant art reprint, right? But that all changed with the last Secret Lair Super Drop, where they included a full-on commander deck. And instead of giving the entire deck treatment where everything is a special card, only 5 cards in that deck are actually full on like new art, right? Like technically there's 10 pieces of new artwork because each of these 5 cards are flip cards, and on both sides it just has a different artwork for the same like creature, right? So technically they commissioned 10 new pieces of artwork for this, although I guess they might have got it done in like a big sort of panorama. But either way, the point remains that they have decided to not just go, okay, we're selling you 4 or 5 cards as part of a secret lair. Now we can sell you a $100 commander deck. If that succeeds, which I fully believe it will, why would they stop there, right? That's like the tip of the iceberg. Why not release other products through Secret Lair? Why not have full-on Secret Lair booster boxes where you can get a booster box of the newest set, but when you buy it through Secret Lair, it includes special variant printings you can only get that way, or functionally unique cards that they abruptly decide to include into standard. Like there's all these different things that they can do with the secret lairs. They could bring back older products that we haven't seen in a while, like dual decks. Dual decks failed for Wizards because the price point wasn't high enough and they had to put too much value into it. But if they can do the same thing that they did with the commander deck with the secret lair, then they're laughing, right? Because that commander deck, essentially, they go, we built Gavin's commander deck, Gavin being an employee of Wizards of the Coast. But if you go and look at his deck list, they took out everything of worth and just basically shunted in a bunch of additional garbage to keep the price point where they wanted it. So I personally see Secret Lair extending out into a range of products. Why not have a Secret Lair version of every single Magic product? Wizards of the Coast gets to sell it directly to the consumer, and they make way more money. And there are other ways to monetize secret lairs. Think about this. What if you could personalize a Magic card? What if there was a legendary creature that they created and you could have it printed with your name on it, your actual name as the name of the card? That sort of thing, right? With the secret lairs specific printing, they can do almost anything. Look at the personalization that they're already doing for the premium stores. If you're not aware of it, the WPN premium stores, they end up getting sent special promos that literally have the name of the store printed on it, right down at the very bottom. So you could have your own version of a Magic card. Your deck could have your name printed along the bottom. You could have ones where theoretically your name could actually be the name of the card, right? What does Wizards care? If they're selling this stuff, especially if it's not standard legal and it's just casual, then who cares, right? Like, if people will buy it, we'll sell it. That's what it feels like. Wizards of the Coast is like full on, any way they think they can bring in the cash now. Let's go the baseball card route. Like, there's so much of that going on. And that ties in to this as well. We've got like the year of the most variants. That's the next point on my list, okay? Now, there's a lot I want to say about all this, so I'm trying to be as succinct as possible because I know this is just supposed to be a top list, not a me yammering for 4 hours video. But anyways, 2022 is going to be the year of the most variants because Wizards of the Coast is really leaning hard into these stylized frame concepts. And on one hand, I really love the visual aspects of Magic the Gathering. So them adding in more frames, more options, I like that. The storybook frames from Throne of Eldraine, absolutely gorgeous. The like Viking style frames from Kaldheim, also really cool. Like, some of them are hit and miss. Admittedly, the Crimson Vow specialized styling variant, that to me, that's a miss for me. But I like having all of these options. And clearly Wizards is intending on ramping this concept up in a massive regard, not only just with variant border styles, but also with variant printings in terms of like super limited edition numbered cards. Look at the Viscera Seers that we saw from the Phyrexian Secret Lair, right? The numbered 1 to 100 cards. So that is a mirrored, reflected, whatever, reversed variant you want to call it, super limited edition on top of that. You look at Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, there are 5 different, or is it, what is it, 6? 6, I guess, if you include the original, or is there 7? So you've got regular Higasugu, you've got extended border Higasugu, then you've got like purple bordered, blue bordered, red bordered, green bordered. Yeah, that's like, there's like 6 or 7 different Higasugus all by himself. And it's like, this color variant is twice as rare as this variant, and this variant is twice as rare as this variant. So they're just going to keep coming up with more and more variety in that regard. Now, for me, it's like, that's a, it's a take it or leave it kind of proposition. It's not exactly the same as Arena because while it is a cosmetic thing, it's not like you have a choice in whether you're going to engage with it. If you buy booster packs, you don't get to choose what kind of variants are going to be included with that. But I do expect fully that we're just going to see more and more of this variant expansion as Wizards tries to capture what the sports card market does, where they create like these insanely rare chase cards and have like a baffling variety of stuff. So there's all these things for you to chase, and more importantly, all these things to have higher value on the secondary market. Everything that Wizards does, in my opinion, at least nowadays, seems like it's all designed to buoy up and take advantage of the secondary market. So regular sets are created in a sense to serve putting cards out into the secondary market, maybe getting their prices like right up there, and then Secret Lair is like harvesting those prices that they've built, right? It's a really good setup for them. Look at Bitter Blossom, for example. Bitter Blossom became such a big thing that by the time they made a Bitter Blossom Secret Lair, they were able to sell you a Secret Lair with one magic card in it that had 4 tokens in it, and people pay $40 for it. Like, Secret Lair is a genius move from Wizards of the Coast point. Anyways, I know it kind of bleeds into the Secret Lair point I made before. Let's move on to the next point on the list. This one it's a bit of a downer, let's be real. 2022 is going to be the year of the highest cost to play Magic the Gathering. Magic's only getting more expensive, and this is by design. Part of that is the natural flow of the world. With what's going on, prices always move upwards. That is just the normality of existence that we all have. It drives us crazy, but is just a normal sort of thing. But Magic isn't experiencing just normal price pressures. They are experiencing basically a price push because Hasbro gave them that mandate that for the next 5 years, you need to double profits. And that was however many years ago, but they're still in the midst of that, right? So this profit doubling is literally a corporate mandate. Now, how do they do that? They push the price of products up. We've seen it across the board, right? Look at things like the Modern Horizons set. They come out intentionally overpriced. There's no reason they couldn't sell them at the same price as other sets, draft boosters and whatever else, right? Nope, they don't do that because they want Modern to be more expensive. Well, obviously they want to make more money too, but the idea with something like Modern Horizons 2 is you bring in a set that's really expensive, and at the same time, you make cards that are basically so powerful they can't be ignored. One point that really didn't quite make it onto the list that would have made it onto the list kind of actually ties into that overall. But the idea is that, you know, what they want to do is have you constantly buying cards. So Modern Horizons 2, the idea is to push the price up, but also to disrupt Modern. So Wizards of the Coast is trying to go into every format that has a level of stability and basically force anybody playing it to buy these more expensive products. So if you want to play Modern, you're going to have to get the Modern Horizons set. We're in a new era of power creep. Modern Horizons 3 will be more powerful than Modern Horizons 2, or will like pinpoint other colors to try and like, look at Ragavan, for example, from Modern Horizons 2. He's pretty much you have to have this card. And last time I checked, a regular one's $100 and a foil one's $200. Like, that's Canadian prices, but still, that's something you need 4 of for your deck. Just came out in Modern Horizons 2, right? So they keep pushing things like this where they go, hey, we released all this stuff. You want to stay competitive in this format? You got to buy this stuff. And that means you either got to buy packs, which cost almost twice as much as draft packs, or you got to buy singles, which will have super high secondary market values. And then they have these cards they can pick to go back to put into Secret Lairs later on. Like, it's a brilliant business strategy that's designed to extract as much money as possible from you and I, right? That's the scenario we're living in. So we're going to see these price increases across the board. And actually that ties in to the last point on the list that I wanted to talk about. And that is that 2022 is going to be the year where draft boxes officially lose their prime position. For the majority of Magic's history, draft boxes have been the most important thing in Magic, right? They're what fed standard. That's how you got all of your cards originally. We didn't have theme boosters, collector boosters, set boosters. But now we have all of those boosters. And you may have noticed already, there has been a push through stuff that's been sent out to pre-releases in terms of, instead of sending pre-releases draft boosters, they send them set boosters. The bundles have been changed. So now instead of a bundle having 10 draft boosters, you have 8 set boosters. So slowly but surely, Wizards of the Coast has been pulling draft back from its place of prominence and pushing set boosters into its place. So you have a scenario where draft boxes are 15 card packs and set boosters are 12 card packs, right? So Wizards of the Coast has a 20% reduction in production costs by making these set boosters. It's very much in their best interest, essentially, to push these set boxes on us. So you may have already heard the rumors that are floating around, but it is being said that in 2022, draft boxes are going to change. The price is going to go up, and at the same time, 1/3 of the product in the box is going to disappear. So in 2022, what's supposed to happen is draft boxes are supposed to become 24 packs in a box and have their price raised significantly. Now, this is just a rumor, so I can't really confirm it, but it does fall very well in line but with what Wizards of the Coast has already been doing with set boosters and draft boosters. If you go back to my videos months and months and months ago, you will find that I was literally saying, I think Wizards of the Coast is intentionally trying to push set boosters. And they were like, no, it's production issues. No. But I don't believe it was. I really do believe all along this has been a plan to maneuver draft boxes out of the prime position and move set boxes into the prime position. And the reason that I believe this has happened is Wizards of the Coast was essentially given incredibly valuable market information they never could have gained on their own. By that I mean, when the world changed roughly 2 years ago and we all had to come and huddle inside, don't go outside, right? Once the world changed in that nature, all of a sudden you couldn't go to Magic tournaments anymore, right? The majority of people couldn't go to Magic tournaments. Sure, there may have been some place you go, but most of the world shut down, at least in different parts and different places, right? And so what happened was Wizards of the Coast finally got to see exactly what the customer base behaves like when there aren't a bunch of tournaments firing off and events going off. So for most of Magic's history, Wizards of the Coast held Standard up as the golden child of Magic, and draft boxes were the way that you got all of your Standard cards. So play Standard, play Draft. They made sure that the draft boxes were the most balanced product in Magic the Gathering. They wanted to make sure the sets were very balanced, because if they weren't balanced, they wouldn't sell well. Everything flowed from the draft boxes, so they had to be as good as they could, because if they weren't, they would have big problems. So Standard, it was very important to try and maintain balance in Standard. And now they found out, hey, guess what? Look at this. They were already going into their fire development concept, where they were like, let's make cards that are more powerful and flashy and crazy and kind of go out there. But then they added on to that the fact that they realized, wait a minute, all these people aren't going out and playing in these big official tournaments, and yet we're still making tons of money. We're making as much or more money as we did before. So the logical conclusion to draw from that is that people going out to play in tournaments and drafts and stuff doesn't matter as much to your company's bottom line as you think it did. And so essentially that gave Wizards of the Coast more maneuverability to just go, you know what, let's pour crazy stuff into the Standard set. So who even cares? We can let it go as nutty as it wants. It doesn't matter if Standard gets that unbalanced. Look at Arena, right? Arena, they've just introduced Alchemy, so they can nerf and change any cards on the go, which frees them up to be even more power crazy going forwards with their designs for Standard and stuff, because we'll tweak it for Alchemy. The people who have the cards, maybe they'll complain, but whatever, we've already sold them the cards kind of deal, right? So you got a situation where there's no real reason for draft boxes to be considered the most important product anymore. If you don't have to consider draft and the overall Standard environment to be this sacrosanct sort of thing that you can't violate, then all of a sudden you can just do whatever you want with it, right? So I'm expecting that going forwards, we're going to see crazier and crazier stuff just rolling out in all kinds of directions, because Wizards of the Coast totally, this draft boxes being pulled back really is just one kind of symptom of Wizards of the Coast trying to really get into every single format and turn it into a constantly fluctuating, rotating format. Now, they've had an easier time doing it with things like Modern Horizons 2, but it's happening to Commander too. The thing about Commander is, for the longest time, Commander players would say, hey, Wizards, please give us some attention, make stuff for us. And Wizards was just kind of well, we make Commander decks for you once a year, that's all good, and you can pick stuff from our sets. That's all the attention you need. And that was actually a pretty good balance. And then Wizards of the Coast found out, especially through what's going on with the world shutting down, wait a minute, Commander and Tabletop's way bigger. We got to focus way more on Commander. But them focusing more on Commander doesn't equal how do we make the Commander customers happy. It goes, how do we get as much money as we can from the Commander players? And Commander players will just sometimes pick up singles here or there, right? Like a lot of Commander players don't go and crack pack after pack after pack after pack after pack looking for particular cards. They'll go and buy particular singles. So how do you keep those singles getting the price up there or whatever? Well, reduce the number of packs in draft boxes, increase the price on draft boxes, and that will basically move the floor up on singles as well, because draft boxes were the cheapest way to get the most amount of Magic cards, and now it's changing, right? So anyways, those are my top 5 predictions for what's coming in 2022, all through the lens of course, Wizards of the Coast's focus on increasing profits. So let me know your thoughts on my predictions and also what you think is going to be happening in 2022. I'll leave some fun links on the screen for you guys, but for new Magic historian / future historian, out.